Hi everybody, I am home, as you can see. Just wanted to do a real quick shot. These are all the boxes that I sent home while I was on the trail. So you can get an idea of gear that I had originally brought and then sent back. Not all of these are completely full, but I knew there would be stuff that I didn't need. Didn't think it would be this much. And I mean, honestly, some of this I bought on the trail. Like this right here is the umbrella. So it's not like I packed that here and then sent it home because I didn't need it. I'll explain that later in the video. But I just wanted to get a real quick shot of this before I open all these up and organize my gear to do the shakedown and review. Got all this fun stuff packed up for the train ride. But yeah, I'll finish this up in a second. I gotta unpack it all and organize. All right, organized-ish. Kind of got this in. I'm sorry, getting all shaky. Got this in 3 different groups. So this is going to be the gear shakedown. Emptied out my bag. So over here on the left, not including the shoes, so get that out of screen. The Jetboil. This is a Hydro Pack, insulation bag for cooking, sleeping bag liner, and then in here is like my first paracord, which was heavy as hell, like 75, maybe not 75, at least 2/3 of my original first aid kit, and then like other stuff in here, I don't know exactly. Got a card game, a knife, these Shakeology things, which were really good. It's just hard to prepare on the trail. A couple backup lighters that I ended up needing, moleskin stuff, phone cover, carabiner. I don't know what this is. Oh, that's my ticket for my train. Guidebook, a shirt that ended up being too hard. Not too hard, but it was like almost like cotton and it didn't wick water very well, so I got rid of that. And then Tim, for you, the Fiji flag that I sent home, plus this little like scarf thing that we got at Outdoor 76 in Franklin. It's the Fiji flag folded up. And then my original rain gear, which was kind of heavy. So got everything in bags. I think that's going to be one of the things that I'll need to kick as I adjust to real life, is not putting everything into a quart bag or a gallon bag. To be perfectly honest, it's harder than I thought it was going to be. So all this stuff I ended up cutting because I didn't need. The sleeping bag liner I was using for a minute to help cover my sleeping pad so it would make less noise. When I was cooking, I would use this and this. This has a hole in it, and I sent it home because Hydro Pack has a guarantee that it's a puncture-proof guarantee, so I can get a free one or a replacement for that. So I'm going to take that to REI at some point soon. Like I said, paracord was too heavy. Cards were unnecessary. The carabiner, extra lighters. Like I had 3 extras and didn't need that many. Substituted this rain gear for an umbrella. So that's basically everything that I should never have brought in the first place. Other stuff that I sent home is over here, and this is what I sent home when I was doing my cold weather transition. So I've got a few things that I didn't end up taking from my original box. This hat here, because I had a balaclava and another hat in the box, and then these pants under the towel and the belt. So I think the end result of my hike was that I lost at least 35 pounds. I might have gotten down to 40 lost, which puts me in like way too light. But because I lost so much weight, these pants were already kind of big, and I was using the belt to like hold it up. I had probably 3-4 inches of extra space on the belt in the smallest setting, and the pants were already bigger than the belt, so I said, just send it home. And I didn't bring those pants. Got pajama pants that I got at Walmart. I should have kept those, but I figured because I was going to have these pants, I wouldn't need these pants anymore. Accidentally sent them both home in the same box. Also sent the umbrella home when we were in Killington. Was it Killington? It was in Vermont. Yeah, Killington. And then this is like another 25% of my med kit plus like some repair stuff and my backup water purification system. It's also where this is also when I sent home my electronics bag and a filter and my towel and my spoon or spork from not cooking anymore. So here's one of the Hydro Pack little ditty bags. So all this stuff, and my quilt, which I probably should have kept because the sleeping bag was a little bit of overkill most nights. Probably been 1 or 2 nights where I was glad to have the sleeping bag, but I would have been fine with the quilt. And then like a pair of shorts and a shirt that I was trying to save some weight. I had more stuff. So all this went home. I sent the umbrella home because I got this rain jacket here. And the thought was I would need the jacket for warmth and windbreaking in the cold. The rain would be cold, so this would help keep me warm, whereas like the umbrella would keep me dry but let me cool off. And I didn't want to cool off in the cold, so this ended up replacing the umbrella. These are my shoes, or what's left of them. After about 500 miles, the whites in southern Maine did a good job retiring these bad boys. They didn't last as long as any of the others, but they held up fine. I've got my gaiters, my buffs, boxers, clothes, jacket, puffy, got my thermal leggings, which, like, I totally understand why people wear leggings. They're some of the most comfortable stuff in the world. And now that I've got like amazing legs from doing leg day for like 4 months, I want to wear them around. The only problem is they don't have pockets. And that's so frustrating. I've never like always heard people complaining, oh man, no pockets, blah, blah, blah. I didn't realize how awful that was until I had to experience it myself. I feel for you ladies. I'm going to start a store that's just called It Has Pockets and sell women's clothes that all has pockets, so you all don't have to suffer anymore. So 2 dry seal bags. The green one was where I put all my food, and then the red one was where I ended up putting everything else. So originally the blue bag over here had my electronics, and then red had basically everything else, all med kits and repair kits and odds and ends. I pared everything down to the point where it just all fit in the red bag, and I sent the blue one home. So things that I had with me. So this is what I ended up with, the med kit. It's got a emergency blanket, some Band-Aids, Advil. It's also my repair kit, so it's got repair tape, duct tape, got antiseptic wipes, triple antibiotic, and some bandages. And that's about it. And I didn't even really need all of that. Got the hand sanitizer and the GPS. Both of those were strapped to the outside of my bag until the hand sanitizer broke, and then I put it in one of the hip pockets. I've got here Repel. I had a bigger can of bug spray, but obviously you want to try and save weight. So 100% DEET in that little can was great. Got chapstick when we got to the coldness. And then I got this knife on the trail. It's a knife and multi-tool. I'd gotten a multi-tool from my uncle and brought a knife of my own. But that ended up just saving so much more weight that I sent the other 2 things home. No disrespect. My new paracord Z-seat, which is completely sat out. 1 trekking pole left. I broke 3 along the way, and that's actually one that I found. And the guy that runs Shaw's got hooked me up with one of his to borrow. That was the hostel right before the 100-mile wilderness, so I wasn't like hobbling. Trowel for digging cat holes, sleeping pad, sleeping bag, tent and tent footprint, rain cover, pillow, and then bag. And so the reason that the tent stakes are out of the tent bag and the tent looks a little squished is because I figured out a different way to pack the bag that allowed so if you put the weight top center in your bag, then instead of pulling back on your shoulders, it pushes down on your spine and all the weight goes to your legs, and it's so much more comfortable. So I probably tried 3 or 4 different packs, and when I say pack, I mean like how I packed my bag to improve that. And by the end, I think I had it more or less figured out. Electronics bag has the battery pack that I would use to keep my phone charged, chargers and charging cords, headphones, wireless headphones. And then I had my watch, which was the better way to keep track of where I was, because if you could keep a constant pace, the time it took you, like in an hour, you'd know you were 3 miles down the trail, or a little bit less. So that was a lot easier. Just check your wrist, and then you know more or less where you are instead of having to pull out your phone or your guidebook and figure it out that way. This was like my toiletry bag. Most of it's gone now. Toothbrush, toothpaste, multivitamins. I had a comb. What else was in there? Just like that kind of stuff. Oh, I had Q-tips because I really liked cleaning out, or getting everything clean in my ears. Hydro pack and filter, and then this collapsible cup I used as a scoop. So filter, cap for the bag right here, so if you didn't want to put the filter in, you could still close it off. And then my Camelback, which it's got red in it because I used Crystal Light flavoring for the last hike. I planned on throwing this out at the end of it. I stopped using it basically in Shenandoah in favor of a smart water bottle and carrying only 1 liter at a time. Probably going to continue that for my next hikes. As much as I like the Camelback and its convenience, you can't tell how much water you have, and that's a problem. So basically everything that you see in this shot was was all my gear. So most of it's clothes, and I probably have 3 times, 4 times as many clothes as most anybody else on the trail. And then just minimal gear otherwise. Really didn't need a lot. And I gotta pare down on this sleep system. That's another way I can save some weight. But this was all the gear that I had, and then the gear that I didn't use. And I know that this section here is going to get smaller the next hike that I do, because I don't know that I would bring all of this ever again. Definitely fewer clothes. But that's it. So I will do a recap of the trip next. But I'm probably just going to chill out for a minute before I actually make that video. Later, y'all. Hi everybody. Back home finally. I'm going to try and prop my arm up so I'm not dying. Alright. So, first full day home. I got home last night. At this point, you've seen the 2 videos of the gear shakedown. That was interesting for me too, because I didn't realize that I had probably sent home half of my gear. It looked like it was just as much stuff in the sent home pile as there was in the what I still had with me when I came back. And that was sorry, they're getting text messages from the squad. They're playing RuneScape, I think. Anyway, so overall, the trip was probably the best experience I've ever had. Definitely the best summer of my life. I know I've said that I would have done things differently towards the end, and I regretted the speed that we were going at, but after cooling off and resting for the last few days, I definitely don't feel like I missed out necessarily. I'm not upset about it. It is what it is, and don't regret anything that we did. I wouldn't have changed the trip, particularly the front end of it, up through Harper's Ferry. Damascus to Harper's Ferry was, in particular, the best section for me, but that's basically all of Virginia, quarter of the trail. And that honestly has to do with the people that we were hiking with. That was when the squad was the biggest. That was when other things were going on. Fun times with everybody. I am, I think, 35 to 40 pounds down from when I started. So went out to the trail a little over 180, and last I weighed myself, I was like in the mid 140s. So 35 to 40 pounds. I got to start gaining weight, because I look like my legs look great. 4 months worth of leg day, and their tone and look incredible. From like the waist up, I am completely emaciated and look like I am a refugee or a Holocaust victim. And gotta fix that. So been eating a lot. Gonna get back into training for marathon and JFK 50 probably tomorrow morning, maybe not, maybe Monday. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But sooner rather than later. And then going to get back into weightlifting to try and get everything else evened out, so that I don't look like giant legs and small upper body. Let's see. So just kind of like recap of the trip. Front half was a lot of fun. The original Tramley was real cool. Glad to have started out with them and get some like real good experience and tips from people that are really good with hiking. And then transitioning to the new squad with College and Bear and all them, I felt like I was able to be myself more than I was with the original Tramley. Not that, nothing against them, but like that was just, I felt more relaxed than I did with the originals. But I mean, Dan came with me, so and Jason did too. He just decided to go slower. So we really kind of merged the two. And then, let's see. I mean, it's just, there's so much to talk about. If you are having a conversation with me, please come ready with questions, because just saying like, tell me about the trail, I'm not going to know where to start. And I've got so many stories that like it would be difficult. So like, please ask me questions. And I'll take it from there. Let's see. The second half, I'll say Harper's Ferry is the halfway point. So first quarter, cool. Second quarter, infinitely better. Definitely the best quarter in my opinion. And not just because we were in Virginia, but everything else that was going on. And then the summer heat was just absolutely brutal, but being up at least 3,000 feet in elevation helped out a bit. And able to make it through. Let's see. Second or third quarter was the most challenging when it came to mental difficulty, because it was physically demanding in that like going over the rocks was difficult, but it was extremely mentally demanding because you had to concentrate. And so your brain would drain out pretty quickly because you're just like thinking constantly. You weren't able to get into a groove and get moving. And that was like the first half was building strength and endurance and getting into that groove, and learning how to do that. And that was where we started getting our biggest miles, and then ramped it up when we were in Maryland and southern Pennsylvania because it was so flat and easy. And once you got to Duncannon, it was mentally taxing, which ended up kind of continuing through the end of the trail. Like, it got rugged at that point and just kind of stayed rugged. There was a little bit of reprieve in New York and Connecticut, and Massachusetts to a certain extent, but definitely mentally challenging. Fourth quarter, we'll say like Killington on. I don't remember exactly where the third quarter mark was, but I was a little rough on New Hampshire in my earlier videos. Having time away from it, I'm really appreciative of the difficulty and the rewards that you got from it, because they were proportionate. You worked real hard to get to where you were going, but when you ended up getting there, it was incredible. And I can't fault the AMC too much for neglecting parts of the trail that they don't make money on. It wouldn't be a smart business decision for them to sink money into trails that they're not generating revenue on, especially when they're short of funds. I would assume they're short of funds, because it can't be cheap to not just run the huts, but like maintain the trail as well. Let's see. The end of it, when Maine was like a continuation on, was it Mahoosuc? Yeah, because Moosilauke was the mountain in New Hampshire that Dartmouth owns, and then Mahoosuc. I always get those two mixed up. The Mahoosuc Notch was just wild. And then the end of it was, pretty good. Felt like if we hadn't been pushing so hard through the whites and been a little bit slower, we probably wouldn't have needed to zero in Stratton, and probably wouldn't have had so much. Like, I felt like we were at that point had been pushing ourselves for so long, so hard, we were all starting to break down. And that's why in a lot of cases we were in different campsites. Tensions were a little tight, but I think more it was just like people couldn't make it all the way every time. And then we all got sick in Stratton, which I think was a direct result of just being stressed out and just worn down. And we were breaking down. I think that if we'd taken it just a little bit slower, we probably would have been all right. And I was talking to Bamboo about this, and he was like, yeah, you guys are like trying to rush through, but I'm keeping pace. Like, you guys zeroed, and I was able to catch up. And I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. Like, we all zeroed because we were sick, and probably wouldn't have gotten sick had we been a little bit more diligent with our miles. But, it was what it was. I ended up ripping a 37.7 miler in 100 Mile Wilderness, which at that time was the squad record. Then Swish decided to one-up me and go for 41. So he's got the squad record. I'm in second place. All I really care about is that I beat Dirty Dan. He was pushing miles so hard, and he didn't get the record. Which was great, because like the day that I did that, we had 30.1 miles left, and he couldn't at that point bust my record, which was great. And so when I caught up with them, it was 30.1 miles, which was the same distance from Springer to Mountain Crossing, the first hostel that I stayed at. And it took me 4 days to get there in the beginning. When we were at 30.1 left, we did 25 of it, or 24.9 in one day. So like, it's just incredible to me how much stronger we got. And you could really see that whenever we slack packed. So when I slack packed down at Boots Off, I crushed 21 miles real easily, which at that time was huge. And then when we were climbing Katahdin, we slack packed. Kind of. We just left a bunch of stuff that we didn't need to be carrying up there at the ranger station, which I guess is technically the definition of slackpacking, but I was throwing myself up rocks because it was just so much easier to do everything. My legs were used to lifting 20, 25, 30 pounds of gear, food, and water, and I had just water and food in my pack. So it was just like launching up rocks, and it was a lot of fun. Other than that, this is going to be the last video for this. I'm starting to take a look at the PCT and CDT. Definitely want to do a Triple Crown, but it might not happen right away. Well, it definitely won't happen right away. I think like 10 years maybe. I don't know. Let's see how it goes. And then just getting ready for the races and settling in and readjusting. But other than that, I don't think that there's much to say. Leave a comment if you want to ask a question. I'm got a desktop computer now, so I don't know exactly like if my phone's app has been getting all of the notifications that it's supposed to get, but I'm gonna check on my Surface to see like desktop version of the website if there's more stuff that I was missing. Big shout out and thank you to everybody that helped along the way. Dan and Wendy getting the initial like supplemental gear together, and then Dan driving me to Amicalola. All the Fijis that I met out on the trail, Dana, Luke. Oh my god. I'm so sorry, dude. I forgot your name in the winery. Oh well. I'm sorry. Oh fuck. I feel like a jerk. Anyway, Alex Lowe was supposed to come out, but like I was in New York on a weekday, so obviously he can't skip work. Luke and Emily, thank you so much for like the best meal on the trail, bar none. I'm talking about like restaurants and other stuff. There was another one that came close when we were at a hostel in Maine. It was the Cabin. It was a nice home cooked meal, but it was like, I don't know, more traditional heavy food like corn, mashed potatoes, ham. There's this zucchini cheese casserole thing, rolls, all good, but like the stuff that Luke and Emily brought was a little bit more current in culinary trends and fresher and healthier, and I really, really appreciated that. And then, oh, of course, Rick and Reed for helping me out in New Hampshire and Vermont with my cold weather gear, and then getting me to the trail. And I'm trying to think if there's, oh, and Danielle and Suzanne, thank you so much for all of your encouragement and advice throughout the way. Definitely would have freaked out a lot harder about the whites had I not spoken to you guys down in Georgia. And just great to have your support throughout the way. Leah, I'm jealous that you were able to do the long trail. Wish we would have been able to hike together, but you know, that's the way it works. And I know that I have to be forgetting somebody. I can't think of anybody right now. So if I forgot you, I'm genuinely sorry. But I have already talked for almost 16 minutes, and I'm going to shut up because this video is probably going to be like a half hour long. And that is about it. I hope you all enjoyed it. I really appreciate everyone following along and the support that you all gave me, and I apologize if I didn't mention you specifically, but know that you definitely had an impact on my trip, and I probably wouldn't have been able to do it without everybody. Oh, I mean, the squad. How can I not say thank you to the squad for just being the squad? And we all helped each other out, and we all got through it together. Just a shame that we couldn't have all finished together. That would have been best case scenario, but life happens, and that's the way it goes. So I'm gonna cut this off before I get to 17 minutes, and I'll see you all on the next trail. Hi.